You've tuned in to the Women of Power Network. This network will enlighten you with information of our many exhibitors, sponsors, and advertisers. Educate you with information regarding products and projects from great artists and authors. And illuminate you by providing information that will allow you to become more informed about Women of Power and its many networking opportunities. The Women of Power Network, where we produce with power.
Now it's time for the Encouraging the Heart Ministries radio show with Pastor Connie Bivens. It is her prayer that you will find encouragement for your heart and empowerment for your life by listening and participating on this radio show. So without any further ado, here is pastor, life coach, inspirational speaker, author, Connie Bivens.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Encouraging the Heart radio broadcast. This is Pastor Connie inviting you to sit back and enjoy an hour of inspiration, information, and entertainment. The Encouraging the Heart radio broadcast is committed to bringing you heart-provoking questions, life-changing messages, and jaw-hurting entertainment as we share the Word of God along with information about the world we live in. So hunt your coworker, call your friends, family, even your foes, and tell them to tune in to www.thepraisehouse.com or by phone at 401-347-0923 for this next hour, and they'll be glad they did. Also, be sure and like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/encouragetheheart. Feel free to post your comments about the show and participate to win one of our wonderful giveaways. Now, I am so excited about today's show. I have known this powerful woman of God for some time, but our paths seem to pass, and then they go through each other, and they intersect, and then they go away from each other, and then they seem to come back. But I promise you that from the moment I met her some years ago, it has always been a blessing and a privilege and an honor to know her and to know what God is doing in her and through her. And that is none other than our very own pastor, action coach, seminar leader, singer, actor, vocal, and drama coach, the phenomenal Delores Burgess. How are you, woman of God?
I'm well. Wow. I don't think I've ever gotten an introduction like that.
Well, you deserve that and so much more. I'm so excited. I'm just excited about having you here.
Thank you.
Amen. So what's been going on in your life in the time that, so I guess the last time we actually saw each other was March, and it's now July. So what's been going on since March?
Oh, my God, so much. I have to say this first. I just give glory to God for my amazing granddaughter. She's now 10 months old, so I'm excited about the time that I'm having with her and everything that she's teaching me. So that definitely is something that's happening, of course. But we're doing a lot of fun things over at Tri-Action Life Center, which is my ministry over in Stone Mountain. So I'm happy about that, and we can talk about all those things. And life is good, you know. I've inherited my dad to help take care of him after many, many years of being separated from him. So God is good, and life is changing, it's moving, and we're just excited about just being able.
Just being able. See, that's a mouthful all by itself. Somebody just got a message right there. I promise you. Look, we
exactly
churches all over the world this Sunday because somebody is going to be preaching about that on this Sunday morning. And so, you know, I'm excited because I'm like you. I love my life. And Delores, that's not to say that it's a perfect life.
Absolutely
That's not to say that it doesn't have its challenges, and like you said, it's not moving and all of that. But I do. I love my life. And I can say that even after last night when I laid down, I was a little feeling some kind of way a little bit last night. But as I laid down, I prayed. And I am so glad that I know a God and I have a relationship with a God that just as instantly, as if that's a word, as
it is.
He meets my very need. And so, you know, when I went to bed last night, I wasn't feeling so great, but as I laid there and I began to pray, God did something. And on this morning, I woke up in time, on time, before time. And God has just been blessing. And so talk to me about bringing in your father just real briefly because, you know, so many in this time and age that we're in right now, many of us are taking care of our elderly loved ones and whatnot. Right. And so tell us a little bit about what's going on there.
Yeah, well, my dad, and just a real brief backstory, my dad was estranged from me since I was really like 3 years old. He and my mom divorced when I was just a baby. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I've seen my dad, and I've known him over the years and everything, but we weren't very close. He was not in my life every day and all of that. He didn't raise me. My mom did an amazing job doing that. And there was a time, like when I got married, I was sort of angry with my dad for not being there. And even out of respect for my mother, I sort of had, I guess, a certain way that I treated my dad, just out of honoring her discontent and disappointment with him, as a father and as a husband. Uh-huh. But as I began to get closer to God and understand my relationship with him and understand what he expects of us, as I got older, had my own family, and realized, what I'm carrying around is anger, what I'm carrying around is unforgiveness, and I don't even know why. So I understood I guess the offenses towards my mom, and I understood that my dad was not there for me. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to be angry at him for the rest of my life and not be able to have that joy, and not only that, not to please God. So I decided I was going to have a very solid relationship with my dad, and I approached him, my husband and I, we welcomed him into our home. We took him on vacation, and my family was like, oh, what are you doing? Excuse me? You're breaking all of the family traditional rules now. What are you doing? So I did. I went against the grain, and I just began having a relationship with my dad, and I was very real and open with him. He understood why we were connecting, and that, in other words, I was accepting him for who he was, period.
Right.
And so many years passed. My dad moved to Mississippi, and he took care of his father and mother. He's an only child, and he was there for many years. I would see him when I go visit and all of that, but still we're not very close, just in relationship by phone and when we saw each other, whenever that was. But my dad got sick after being in Mississippi, no other relatives. He got sick in December last year, and he called me. Of course, no one else to call but me. He's got 3 other kids, but he calls me, and he said, baby, I'm sick. I'm in the hospital, and I know you come and check on me if you need to, but I think I need to move, so that I can be closer to someone. So my husband and I, we talked about it, we prayed about it, and we said, okay. You just can't leave people out there by themselves, and I don't care how, what the situation is. You find a way to make it work. And I'm not saying that everybody can bring, someone or a spirit into their home if it's not right. But my dad was a God-fearing man, and he did a lot of wrong. He did a lot of stuff, just foul stuff. He really did. But he asked for my forgiveness, and he's apologized and all of that. And not only that, he needed us. Yeah. So I went and got him, brought him here, and he was in my home for about 4 months. But he said, baby, I know you guys have a lot to do. I don't want to stop you. I don't want to hinder you guys from doing anything, because he's in his right mind and everything. It's just that he wanted, some level of independence, but he still needed assistance. So we found him a really nice place over actually in Buckhead, but it's a subsidized apartment living facility where they pretty much let seniors be independent, if you will. And then they have contracted help that comes in to help and that kind of thing. So we pay a separate service to provide for his very hands-on needs, like with showering, helping to shower. Some like cooking, some like cleaning, laundry, those kinds of things. And then, of course, I take him home-cooked meals when I do cook. And and he really enjoys that because, we do the old-school stuff, the cornbread, the turnip greens, that kind of stuff. So he's, like, real happy about that.
Girl, don't get started. You have my husband over here talking about when she bringing them turnip greens.
Yeah, but he knows we're busy people over here, and he wants us to do what we are called to do in ministry. So that allows him to have his independence. He loves to watch television and do his thing and chat and talk with his friends. And so it is an adjustment, a major adjustment for him, because he went from sitting on the porch in the country, dirt roads and that kind of thing, to now living in an 11-story apartment building where you've got to get on an elevator to go outside and sit on a carport. And he's like, huh, what? So it is an adjustment. He's amongst a very diverse group of people, which he's, not typically used to on an everyday basis. Right. So just the whole dynamics of his everyday life is totally different right now. But we bring him home, to my home every other weekend, or if not every weekend, or if anything is happening, if we're celebrating something or whatever, and I go check on him during the week. And so we all are adjusting in this process. Right. And I have to manage his doctor bills and, pay his bills. And so everything is an adjustment for all of us, but we're doing the best that we can because, we're doing it out of our hearts, and I love my dad, and I think about myself. We're all going to get old one day.
Yes.
We're all going to get old one day, and we're going to need somebody. So for anybody who's out there and they've got a vendetta, or there's some unforgiveness because of some ills that may have taken place years ago or whatever, just remember that you're going to need a place at some point, as you age. And I think about that, too, and it's just like, wow, it's amazing how God already knows that. He knows what's going to come, so he's trying to help us now. He's trying to give us the law and the rules and the policies to abide by, the word, the truth, so that when we reach that point, we'll already be set. So I feel like I'm going to be set. I think my girls are going to do right by me because they've seen, how I've handled my mom as well as now my dad, which was, quite a different situation. And I just pray that we planted that seed in them too, because I don't want to be rejected when I'm older. I don't want to be a burden on anybody. I want folks to, to really care and take care of me. I want somebody to be bringing me some turnip greens and cornbread,
You're so right about it. And
I do.
It's amazing that we allow things to set the standard. And I'm going to get off the track for a moment, then I'm going to come back. But just when I said that, setting the standard, I was driving home yesterday with my daughter-in-law, and she and I were going down the road, and I saw this young man, and his pants were hanging down, and just foolishness, and I said, whoever told somebody that was cute? I just want to know, where did the beginning come? When we used to get our fashion sense from models and New York, and when did prisoners
when did that become okay?
Standard? The way they wear their clothes, so that's my little soapbox. I just had to do that for just a moment. I did that for a moment. But in thinking about our parents, and as they got older, I went to my mom's home and took care of her when she was ill some years ago. Miss her dearly. And then when I moved here, I really didn't want to come here and get real attached. My mother-in-law and I have a really great relationship. We're just very close. And we were coming here because she was ill. And so my mind was like, I just lost my mom not too long ago. This is the only mama I got left. And I really I didn't want to go through that pain again. I knew I was going to suffer some pain because she and I via phone were already close anyway. But to come and be with her every day, but that's what we did. Like you said, you do what you need to do. And so we moved here. And when you know it's God, oh, my God, Delores, when you know it's God, because my husband, we sat up in the bed one day and said, if we're going to move, we need to go ahead and get the wheels turning if that's what we believe God would want us to do. And so we put some feelers out there as far as employment was concerned. Long story short, in 2 weeks, we went out to the interview. We flew out for an interview for him. He got the job. 2 weeks later, we were packing up our house and totally moved from the West Coast to the East Coast. And that's God. That's God.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, but when we got here, we realized, and this is what I really want our listening audience to hear, is at some point you've got to realize that you are not necessarily the one that can give the best care to your loved one. And I had to explain to my family, and, of course, these were my in-love families. They were not my DNA family.
Gotcha.
And so trying to explain to them that, hey, when she's ill at night or when something happens to her at night, she's the one suffering while we're making the phone calls for the doctor visits and all of that. But if she's in an assisted living or she's in a center, then they have doctors on call right then and there. She's not waiting for appointments and all of that. She has medical staff there that can tend to her right then and there. And we need to make a decision that's best for our mamas and our daddies. And I want to tell y'all, my mama, God rest her little soul, she used to crack us up. Talking about, honey, I ain't worried about none of y'all taking care of me. I'm going to find me a place to live, and I'm going to be there and be set already. I ain't even thinking about y'all because y'all going to have your own lives to live, And when the time came and we had to make that difficult decision for my mother-in-law, she's so cute. She had fallen. Eventually, she had fallen and hurt herself, and so she had to go to some rehab. And when it was time to come out of the rehab, we said, "Well, Mama, it's time for you to come home." But we were thinking maybe you might want to stay here. And you know what she said? She said, "Tell Connie, bring me my purse." For an African American elderly woman, that means I'm at home. This is what I'm at home. Bring me my stuff. And so, and basically, she was there until she passed away a little over a year ago, and so we miss her dearly. But, at some point, it was not the easiest thing.
No, it's not easy at all. It's not easy at all. It's not.
But it needed to be made,
Right, absolutely.
And for their best and their good, not necessarily for ours. So, hey, everyone, we have a great show lined up for you today. We want to talk about some phenomenal things that's going on. We want to hear Delores' testimony on how God has healed her body. And as you can see, he's healed her body, and now she's allowing him to use her to bring healing to the lives of others, both physically and naturally. And so we'd also love to hear from you. And if you have a testimony you'd love to share or a move of God that was life-changing and encouraged your heart, or perhaps you'd like to be a guest on an upcoming broadcast, if so, inbox us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/encouragetoheart, or you can contact us via email at ethradio2014@gmail.com.
You tuned in to the Women of Power Network. This network will enlighten you with information of our many exhibitors, sponsors, and advertisers, educate you with information regarding products and projects from great artists and authors, and illuminate you by providing information that will allow you to become more informed about Women of Power and its many networking opportunities. The Women of Power Network, where we produce with power.